Basically, anything I do from brushing my teeth to just turning on the water makes me retch. And that's extremely painful because sometimes it goes on for 15 minutes where I just can't catch my breath.
Okay, let go.
Yet Kevin is leading a fairly normal life because he's found a way to ease the nausea and pain: marijuana.
And it really helps kind of tame me down and, of course, stimulate the appetite.
Critics say people like Kevin should be using a legal drug called Marinol.
The active ingredient, the THC part of marijuana, is available in pills now for AIDS patients, and it does relieve age wasting.
Kevin did try Marinol.
It was just very scary because it was so intense and it came on so quickly. I mean, it's basically incapacitated me. I could not do anything. I could barely hold a conversation.
So Kevin smoked pot during the first 2 years of his illness, stayed productive, and received more job promotions than at any other time in his career.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Hop back up there. How much nausea have you had?
Kevin's doctor, Marcus Conant, recommends pot for many of his 3,000 AIDS patients.
What we're talking about is using a drug that is safe and effective in people who have a serious, life-threatening disease to improve the quality of their life.
We have a standard in this country for medicines, and that's not it. It's not that a doctor feels that it's a good idea. It's that it meets a standard and goes through the FDA and all the procedures that are needed.
But Dr. Conant is not acting in isolation. A 1990 Harvard survey of cancer specialists in America revealed almost half of them advised their patients to smoke pot for relief of nausea and pain. In San Francisco, Dr. Conant even tells his patients where to get it.
And where is that?
And that's the Buyers Club, which is down on Market Street.
Hi, can I see your card, please? Come on in. Thanks, go ahead.
I think we gotta go for the best stuff.
I think you're right.
Triple A green, California green.
The state legislature agrees with club founder Perone. 2 times in 2 years, California lawmakers have approved marijuana for medical use. Both times, Governor Pete Wilson vetoed the bill.
To be taken as a medicine.
That's right.
That was despite the support from groups like the Gray Panthers, the California Nurses Association, the boards of supervisors in 8 counties, even the sheriff of San Francisco County.
I have personally lost 200 friends, close friends, who have died agonizing deaths. Marijuana helped many of them, and I'm glad, because I know that this works for them and is being denied from them for purely political purposes. And they are using patients, my friends, as pawns on this phony war on marijuana.
There are dozens of other underground clubs across America, and 36 states are urging the president to relax restrictions on marijuana for sick people.
I mean, you should have anything available that will help anyone that's ill. I don't care what it is. You should have more than one choice.
If it had any other name beside marijuana, it'd be totally legal.
In 1988, after 2 years of hearings, a law judge for the Drug Enforcement Administration recommended medical marijuana be legalized. The DEA overruled him.
There's no way marijuana or any other smoked leaf or product like that will ever be a medicine in the United States or any place in the developed world.
We are at war with our own people, and it's not right. Now we are at war with sick people, and that's really not right.
Coming up on CNN Presents, we'll take you to a city where taxpayer money helps fund pot shops.
We don't think arresting people and putting them in jail on the level of marijuana doesn't help anybody.
Hey, Wilkins.
Now with higher times. Once again, here's Larry Lamont.
A pleasant summer afternoon on a street in Amsterdam. Playful children. Dinner with friends. And right next door, people smoking marijuana at the neighborhood coffee shop.
This is the real Dutch grass.
The best.
Nobody seems to mind.
It's quite normal for Amsterdam, for Holland. I think it's no, why not?
Soms.
Smokers like Eric Janssen symbolize the Netherlands' open approach to marijuana and hashish. Technically illegal, the government does not prosecute users, the antithesis of the drug policy of most countries. Janssen is a successful contractor who restores old houses. He finds marijuana helpful, not harmful.
During the daytime when I'm working, I don't smoke. It's relaxing. When the job's done, then you can relax. I don't drink that much. I can't handle alcohol because I get a hangover, and I barely drink.
People buy in places called coffee shops.
Yeah, if you want to know what they sell in here, there's all kinds of marijuana, grass, or hashish.
The government believes if sales can be contained in safe, regulated places, users will not move on to more dangerous drugs like heroin and cocaine. Dutch Health Minister Els Borst.
Our Dutch policy is based on the principle that cannabis is not very damaging to health.
Her U.S. equivalent, Donna Shalala.
Marijuana is illegal. Marijuana is dangerous. Marijuana is unhealthy. And marijuana is wrong.
So I think nicotine and alcohol are far more dangerous to your health.
U.S. policymakers firmly believe marijuana leads to harder drugs.
It is a gateway drug.
Joseph Califano, former U.S. Health Secretary, now runs a think tank on drug and addiction issues.
If you're 12 to 17-year-old and you smoke marijuana, you're 85 times more likely to use heroin or cocaine than an individual who does not smoke marijuana.
Nonsense.
University of Amsterdam researcher Peter Cohan has been tracking marijuana use in that city for nearly a decade.
According to our epidemiological data, marijuana is not a gateway drug at all.
Cohan says only 5% of all cannabis users also use cocaine. Even fewer use heroin. And what about concerns pot leads to criminal behavior?
Here are a lot of cafes where you can buy some marijuana. They are not regular coffee shops.
Rotterdam police drugs expert Jaap de Vlieger.
Marijuana gives no any problem at all. Marijuana, the coffee shops in particular, give no more troubles than a regular cafe.
De Vlieger regularly talks to young people to see what kind of drugs they are using. This night he visits a coffee shop.
What do you smoke at the moment?
Skunk.
Skunk? Yeah. What kind of skunk?
He chats with Ron Nieleman.
5 minutes ago I talked with a policeman. I think that's hard to understand for people in America.
We caught up with Ron later when he was practicing with his band and asked him how Dutch police deal with marijuana.
One time we were in a square in the city center, and we were smoking a joint, and two policemen walked on by, and they looked at it and said, good afternoon, it's good weather, and they just walked on.
He holds down a good job at the Technical University at Delft, helping arrange postgraduate courses and lectures. His supervisors praise his work. If he lived in the United States, his career could be ruined by a marijuana arrest. Former U.S. drug czar Lee Brown.
The best way not to get arrested is don't grow, sell, or possess marijuana.
Dutch organized crime investigator Henk Janssen.
We don't think arresting people and put them in jail on the level of marijuana doesn't help anybody.
We don't want to do that in America. So the lesson is very clear. Do not attempt to duplicate what happens in countries such as the Netherlands. I visited their park and I watched their young people laying around looking like zombies.
The misconception people have is that because we have decriminalized the personal use of small amounts of marijuana, that has caused an enormous number of marijuana addicts in this country, and that is absolutely not the case.
So is the policy working? The Dutch say yes. Most people briefly experiment with the drug, then stop. If the Dutch pot policy is so successful, why change it? In a new development, the government proposes closing some coffee shops and reducing the amount of cannabis a person can buy.
I think we have too many coffee shops at the moment, and if you have too many, there's always a danger that these coffee shops also start dealing in other things than cannabis, maybe hard drugs.
This tightening up was prompted, among other things, by an increase in cannabis use by young people, an increase also found in other parts of Europe and the United States.
Here we have the normal, very famous though, NL5 haze.
But the Netherlands hasn't tightened up on those who grow marijuana seeds. That remains legal. Alan Drunker's company sells millions of dollars worth of high-potency seeds every year.
This is greenhouse number 1. This is greenhouse number 2. This is our biggest greenhouse, greenhouse number 3.
They end up in pot gardens around the world, including the United States, whose government wages one of the world's fiercest wars against marijuana.
This is ridiculous. This is sicko. Your country has a problem. Your country has a drug problem. A drug war on people. Not on the drugs, because you only have more people who have problems with drugs. More violence. It's terrible. Makes a Dutchman sad. I'm sorry.
The sight of this Dutch coffee shop would make some Americans cringe. It's in the small town of Bussum. At the Pyramid Coffee Shop, the local government helps sell marijuana to its young people. The operation is backed by $100,000 of taxpayer money in the form of a loan from the city. A schoolmaster heads the foundation which runs the place. Locals concluded their young people were the main smokers in town. Rather than stop them, they decided to keep watch over them. The mayor says this kind of control keeps hard drugs out.
Because we have only one selling point, and from that selling point we can have a good eye on how the drugs world is doing.
The Dutch policy sees experimentation with drugs as a normal part of growing up. Even the health minister admits she smoked pot and inhaled.
I've tried it once. Yes, I didn't like it at all, so I stopped after that one. A joint, it's called, yes. Together with my husband, he didn't like it either. But that's something you can say in this country and still stay on as a Minister of Health.
The war on drugs in the United States likely will be headed by a real general. In his State of the Union address, President Clinton announced his pick as the White House's new drug policy director, 4-star General Barry McCaffrey. If the Senate approves, the military man will head a drug war with a major shift in focus. The latest FBI figures show police are arresting more drug users and fewer dealers. Marijuana possession arrests have doubled over 3 years and now equal the arrests made from heroin and cocaine combined. Yet pot continues to reign as king of America's cash crops. One final note, the introduction of new federal legislation to allow marijuana for medical use. It's essentially the same bill introduced in 1981 by a young congressman from Georgia, Newt Gingrich. The measure has yet to come up for a vote. Now, here's a look at what's coming up on the next CNN Presents.